So that's Jung, and he's profound beyond belief. Really, beyond belief. So, those guys all dealt with the unconscious. Now, it's kind of interesting to think about what the unconscious means. And so I can give you a bit of a hint. It's partly the information that's coded in your behavior. So, for example, there are a lot of things that you can do with your body that you don't know how you do. Like, you don't know how you walk, for example, or how you ride a bike, or how you talk. You can talk, but you don't know how you talk. You just move your mouth, I know, but you get the point, right? You have no conscious apprehension whatsoever of the micro details that are necessary to allow you to move your mouth. So there's a lot of information encoded in you that you don't have conscious access to. And it's not only physiologically encoded, it's also culturally encoded, because you've been targeted and shaped by the interactions of all the people you've ever encountered. And they, in turn, by all the people they've ever encountered, including their ancestors. So you're the product of this unbelievably complex, multi-generational exchange of information that in some ways is all about how to make you acceptable to the public. And there's only certain ways you can be acceptable to the public. You know, you have to be relatively clean, for example, at least in our society. You can't be too boring, or you won't have any friends. You also can't be too exciting. You know, you can't be too violent. You can't be too empty-headed, unless you're associating with people who like to feel superior. You know, we put a lot of demands on each other in terms of what constitutes acceptability, let alone ideal. We're always telling each other about both of those. What's acceptable, what's ideal. Every interaction you have shapes you into an approximation of acceptable and ideal. And that's all encoded in you too. It's encoded in your behavior. It's also encoded in your imagination. And that's why you can go to a movie and you can instantly identify the hero and the villain, which is, of course, the first thing you do when you go to a movie, because otherwise you can't make sense out of it. And so that encoding prior to articulation, that's all the unconscious. And that's what the psychoanalysts were interested in analyzing. Now, the cognitive neuroscientists have kind of got there too, but they're still deluded into thinking that what's in your head is information and that it's ideas. And those are sort of cold and dead things. And your head is not full of ideas and information. It's full of devils and snakes. And the psychoanalysts knew that. And by that I mean you're alive. And so are your subcomponents. And all your little sub-personalities are not just ideas. They see, they think, they hear, they feel, they have aims. As you know, for example, when you get possessed by anger, the aim can be entirely destructive. I want to bring down the person I love. Half an hour later you think, what the hell was I thinking about? It's like, yeah, no kidding. Well, you weren't thinking. You're just possessed by a little sub-personality. And that's what the psychoanalysts were interested in. Sub-personalities, fantasies.